For large-scale operations, this can easily total in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. New lighting, HVAC, dehumidifiers, heat curtains, controllers not only can cost a fortune, but are expensive to operate. This is just the unfortunate reality of running a grow facility, but not anymore. If you've heard of a company called Green Rebates, then you already know what I'm talking about. Green Rebates changed the entire indoor cultivation industry seemingly overnight. They are the leading rebate and incentive management company in the US, and their sole purpose is to get you paid for the purchase of new grow equipment. Not a loan, real cash paid to growers. To date, Green Rebates has put more than $75 million back in the pockets of growers all across the nation. It doesn't matter if you've just purchased new equipment, are planning an expansion, opening a new facility, or maybe even just waiting for the economy to turn around before making any purchasing decisions. If you're a grower, you need to call the team at Green Rebates. They run an in-depth review of your facility to find all applicable equipment and energy rebates, and can connect you with every leading product manufacturer to find the right fit for your needs. Then they show up with a check. It won't cost you anything to find out how much money is being left on the table. Money that you can use to grow your business. Call Green Rebates, tell them you heard about them on the Cannabis and Tech Today podcast, and get ready to get paid.
Welcome to another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks presented by Green Rebates. We are at MJ BizCon. I'm Mary Jane, and I'm here with Conlan Keller from Bonanza Cannabis. How's it going?
Great.
Good. How many MJ BizCons have you been to?
This is actually only my third.
Wow.
So yeah, I've gone the first couple of years we were in business, we were just trying to, just put our head down and actually work at our facility. And so ever since we started to expand and grow, we decided it was important to come.
So tell us about Bonanza Cannabis. How did the company come to be?
Well, so it really was started in 2018. My brother and I we'd worked in the industry before, and we felt like we kind of had a knowledge, especially with sales background and product development and things like that. And so we were trying to figure out how we could do it for ourselves, but we also didn't have any money or any way to get a license or anything. So we were originally going to be working under somebody else's license, and that deal ended up just completely falling apart because they weren't doing well financially.
Okay.
But as a result, we were able to actually just get their license because they just needed to get out from under what they were doing. So we ended up getting our license in 2019, and then we officially launched in 2019. So it took a little longer than we were expecting originally, but we launched in the summer of 2019 just in Colorado.
And now you're in 5 states?
Yeah, we're currently selling in 4 states: Colorado, New Mexico, Nevada, and Arizona. And we're very, very close to being launching in New York as well, because we have our license up there. It's just not quite ready to start producing.
Okay, I want to ask you about that expansion, going from one state to being a multi-state organization, but first I need to know why you named it Bonanza Cannabis.
So that's actually a kind of an interesting story. It's not really that interesting, but my brother and I, again, we were just texting, thinking, what should we name the brand? We had a couple different ideas. And just being in Colorado, we were thinking, well, what about sort of a Western type term? So we were literally Googling Western terms, Western words, Western names, and we came across the word bonanza, which actually means it's like when you strike gold, like a vein of gold. In the old gold rush, it was considered a bonanza. And most people associate it too with the old TV show.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with the mining show. And so we were like, that sounds kind of cool. Also, we work a lot with cannabis oil and distillate and stuff, which is gold. And the industry's always been known as the Wild West and things like this. So it seemed to work out, and so we just went from there. We ran with it. We said we're just going to do it. Designed some logos and packaging, and that's how we did it.
I have some of it here for anyone who is checking this out, and you can see it. Your packaging is really fun. It does have that Western vibe.
Yep, those are our gummies, and so we try to make those colorful and with still the mountain and Western type vibe.
And the names are really fun. Electric Raspberry, Strawberry Milkshake. I have a Blue Dream cartridge here as well.
Yeah, there you go. In fact, if you open it, one of the things that's very unique about our product is it's custom-made hardware. We get it directly from our manufacturer, and it's got a unique look. So if you notice, it's got that wood tip on there.
Oh, yes.
It's very high quality. It's extremely, extremely low fail rate, which for us was one of the biggest things, especially coming into the vape market in 2019, it was like that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Full grams were new, and people were having a hard time with them because they were failing before you got to go through all the oil, especially going from altitude and things like this in Colorado. So we invested a lot of time and effort into our hardware to make sure that it wasn't going to do that. In fact, I was filling cartridges and driving up to the mountains. I filled some with CBD and I mailed them down to family down in Florida just to make sure they weren't leaking, because I was like, we got to make sure, because you end up all the money that people think they save on cheaper hardware, you end up losing that with losing customers, losing trust in the product and stuff. So we went with that unique look, and it's been extremely recognizable. In fact, even new customers that we have, they might not. It takes a minute for them to remember the name Bonanza, but they always remember, oh yeah, it's got that wood tip.
That
on
wood
it,
tip.
And so that's been a big selling point for us as well.
That must have been a fun, to some degree. I know it was probably stressful, but it was also probably kind of fun to do some of the R&D.
Yeah, no, it was for sure, right? And so because you don't really know what works and what doesn't until you do that. You would never want to launch a product with, especially at the beginning when you really have one shot to make a first impression. So we wanted to make sure that was the right way. We'd also seen it. Having been in the industry, we'd seen so many companies that you felt like if they just spent the time and or money with R&Ding like a decent hardware, they would have done well, but they just were leaking, high fail rate, and you'd see that's just money just disappearing right there. So
yeah. So this was all in 2018, 2019, and then you scaled and you became a multi-state operation.
Yeah, so we entered the Colorado market in 2019, and then everybody was like, oh, you're late to the game, right? Because we'd gone rec in Colorado years before, and especially vapes, it was so saturated and stuff. But maybe we were just naive, but it worked in our favor because we were confident that we could make a good product and just sell it, which is the name of the game. And so in 2022, I believe, New Mexico went recreational. And for us, we looked at that as an opportunity because geographically speaking, it's right there. I mean, it's just a couple hour drive from us in Denver. And we found that when we started doing market research, a lot of the people at these dispensaries had actually been very familiar with our product.
Nice.
They were driving up to Trinidad or Durango or whatever and buying our stuff for years. So that was an easy sell. So we quickly got into the New Mexico market and became one of the top 2 vape companies in New Mexico within the first year. I mean, it was huge for us because they were starving for product too, right? And people wanted to see product that they recognized, that they knew was good. And it's just like anything in a new market. If you're not really sure, you go with what you know. And that worked in our favor. And then from there, we actually just continued to expand. In fact, the first MJ BizCon we went to 3 years ago is, we're just trying to make connections and meet people. And that's where we actually ran into somebody that had a license here in Nevada. And so that's where the conversation started. We ended up closing on that license and the property there. And so now we were in Nevada a year later. So we actually just launched at the end of last year in the state of Nevada, because that took a while. The state takes a long time. And then we just launched in Arizona a couple months ago.
Wow.
So it all kind of happened within the last 2 years. But these things take time, and then we threw our hat in the ring and we got into the lottery for New York, and we actually got multiple licenses in New York. And so we are going to be launching there in probably the middle of January in 2025.
Great. That's a good spot to ask then about what you think is going to happen in the future with this incoming administration, how things could change with descheduling or rescheduling, Schedule 3, interstate commerce.
Yeah,
thoughts?
I mean, look, if I knew, I'd be ahead of the game. I ask everybody that question too because, again, I'm not an expert by any means on the political side of cannabis or anything. I kind of follow the news as much as I can, but I also find that if you get it from any mainstream, they know less about what they're talking about than anybody. That's why we have to lean on people like you that are actually in the industry that are talking about it. But I think I'm optimistic. I mean, obviously we took some good strides here this year in terms of rescheduling and things like that. And really, I think just we want to just make sure that it's they keep it an industry that people can be successful, right? I mean, not to over-regulate it or anything, but you also don't want to see some just sweeping things where it's just any little guys or anything's got no chance. I mean, and that's a fear I know of a lot of companies that are just getting started or whatever. It's like, well, what happens if they legalize it and then now all of a sudden it's just big companies come in and we've got nothing, right? So I don't see that happening, but I think it also makes good opportunity, especially for people like us that are MSOs, for maybe a partnership or an acquisition or something. Not that like we're trying to do that, but that's always an option, right? Somebody looks at you and says, well, you're in 5 states now, and you've got licenses in all those states as well, because we like to control the licenses and have our own employees and our own process. I think that's important, especially from a quality control, as well as just a relationship standpoint. We found that any time that we really lean on somebody else to do something, like when they don't care about your business nearly as much as you will. So we like to make sure that we control those things, and so I don't mind it right the way it is right now, from a state by state. It kind of makes it exciting, with every election cycle too. It's like, shit, where's the next market we could go? Because we've got our eyes on some new markets too, and so yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not an expert, but I'm excited for the future. I don't see it. I don't think it's like doom and gloom.
It sounds like the foundation, it's family, because it's you and your brother,
Yeah.
Corey.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the highs and lows of working with family that closely and building a business in this way? Like, how do you weather the tough times?
It's good because also our first employee was our sales director, who I'd known since first grade. He's been one of my best friends since first grade. He's here with us. And we've had employees just laugh because they think like we're going to fight. They think they're like, we're at work like yelling at each other. We're like, no, this is just like how we do things.
Yeah.
And we get things done. We're not afraid, obviously, to disagree with each other. And they say like if in a partnership, if 2 people agree all the time, one of them is not needed, right? Not necessary. So we have plenty of disagreements, but we also align on all the important things when it comes to business, right? We align on our vision for the future. We align on very sales background. We understand what's important, what generates revenue, what doesn't. There's a lot of waste. I feel like a lot of companies that grow and expand, there can be a lot of fat that grows. Mm-hmm. We try to keep that lean. But I will say at the beginning especially, so when we first started it, neither of us had any money. In fact, him and his wife and his baby were living in my basement when we first started that business because, we were just trying to get by. And that was tough because we were living together, we were carpooling every day, we were at work all day. It was like there was definitely a little too much, I mean, you can imagine with anybody.
Yeah.
Even you can be married to somebody and you're like, I think I need like, you don't want to work with that person necessarily all the time. So let alone a sibling. But we think it's worked. Like I said, it's we're just always in communication. It's nonstop. Like from day to night, whether it's text or phone or whatever. So, and you don't necessarily get that with people that you're not family with because it may be 8 o'clock at night and they're like, why is this guy calling me? So we look at it as a benefit. I think it's honestly a competitive advantage.
Amazing. Well, to wrap it up, can you give us just an idea of what some of your hopes for the next year or so are for you personally and the company? And what are you looking for?
I think we hope New York goes well. I think it will. It's an exciting market for sure. I know a lot. They're cleaning some things up there, but we think that it's going to be exciting. All the market research we've done has been positive, and so, I think we're just excited for the continued growth, and that goes for all the states. One thing that I always tell our people is like, look, we're expanding, but that doesn't mean that we can take our eye off Colorado and New Mexico and stuff. Like, yeah, it's cool and sexy now that we're in Nevada and Arizona or whatever, but like, keep in mind, this is like, we still are moving an insane amount of volume in those states. Like those are still our bread and butter. We're based in Colorado, so I'm up at our facility like every day. New Mexico is very close by. We actually sent people that worked at our Colorado facility down to run that operation, so we keep things tight that way. But I think we're just excited for the growth of the overall industry and for ourselves. Like I said, trying to just go from market to market without doing too much at once because you want to give each market its fair attention, So it really has been weird that we've expanded into almost 4 states in the last 2 years. Like if you told me that 2 years ago, I'd say no, that's too quick. But it just happens to be that's kind of how the dominoes have fallen. Mm-hmm. And it's also been good because we're self-funding it all. We're not, we're making money and then putting that back into the business. It's not like we're having to go through this rigorous process of getting loans and all this stuff. We're able to kind of act quick and move into new markets that way.
Amazing. Since you're flexible and you just go with the flow
right.
and figuring it out.
And also working directly with manufacturers, it's like we got a new product, we need new packaging. We're talking to them in the middle of the night and getting it done, and then we got samples made up and they're shipped out. It's like, it's quick, right? Because we work and also because my brother and I are still so involved, like we do all that kind of stuff, dealing with manufacturers kind of things. It's not, there's not that level of separation, right? So we're able to act quick, and we might get a product to market a couple weeks sooner, and that can make all the difference sometimes.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, thank you so much. How can people find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they?
Yeah, so we had a pretty good Instagram before it got taken down. We had to open up a new one. It's just, bonanza.canna, I think, is all it is now. Our website, bonanzacannabis.com, and then they can obviously find us in, almost 300 dispensaries in Colorado, over 300 in New Mexico. We're in almost 50% of the shops here in Nevada now. We're in a good share of shops in Arizona, and then hopefully if you're in the Northeast, New York, look for us in the next couple of months. And from there, it's like, we got our eyes on New Jersey, Massachusetts, that kind of thing. I mean, we're going up there anyways, might as well, right? So.
Yeah, well, everyone keep an eye out for that wood tip.
There you go.
And more from Bonanza Cannabis. Thank you so much, Conlan. This has been great. I hope you have a great show.
Yeah, you
Enjoy the trade show. And this has been another episode of Cannabis Tech Talks, presented by Green Rebates. Thank you so much for hosting us here at this wonderful MJ BizCon. I'm Mary Jane, and we'll see you next time.
In the world of infused edibles, gummies rule. But let's be real, not all gummies are created equal. If you're looking to make truly tasty infused gummies, Melt2Make can help. Melt2Make is committed to making gummy production simple, efficient, and all-natural, offering gelatin, pectin, and sugar-free pectin gummy bases in a range of flavors. They provide step-by-step instructions, equipment lists, and dosing calculators, so whether you're established in the market or you're just getting started, Melt2Make is the perfect gummy manufacturing solution. To learn more, visit us at melt2make.com.